The Sketcho Show Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, up until now you've seen the creature perform the simple mechanics of motor activity, but for what you are about to see next, we must enter quietly into the realm of genius. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, Damen und Herren, from what was once an inarticulate mass of lifeless tissues, may I now present a cultured, sophisticated man about town. Hit it!
The Sketchomatic Show. Sketchomatic.
The Sketcho Show Podcast back again.
Yeah!
This special guest has been in my life for over 2 decades and a high five now. Better part of 25 years. I'm very excited to have him on the podcast. We've been going back and forth. You know, he's not living in the country right now, but still directing the show from another country. We're going to get into that. This man has been the staple in Big Boy's neighborhood for at least 27 years by now. 28 years, right? Something like that. Don't say anything yet because I'm still walking you up. But yeah, right? You could just nod to me. Is that right? Let's just say 28 years.
Wow.
He's been featured in phone taps on Big Boy's Neighborhood. He's the anchor that holds down the show and directs it in which way to go. Without this man, Big Boy's Neighborhood on Real 92.3 would not be possible, I don't believe, and I'm sure Big Boy would agree as well.
Hello.
Without further ado, please welcome to the Sketcho Show Podcast, making his debut, Jason Ryan. J-Ryan!
Hello. Well, that was a heck of a walk-up. That was amazing.
That's right. You deserve no less, sir.
I have a question before we start here.
Go
as
ahead.
we start, do we have to be clean?
No, this is explicit.
Okay. Oh,
yeah, we can talk all the shit we want.
Well, we can't do that on my job on a daily basis.
Right.
So
no,
it's
it
like
feels
it's
good
nice
to release, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To purge the cursing.
It's beautiful.
Jason Ryan, the Malibu Lion, now resides.
You have come up with so many sound effect, nickname, all sorts of sidebars for me. It's like I have to remember my name sometimes because you've created so many others.
Then there's also Jason O'Ryan. Remember,
That's right.
Conan.
From Conan days.
Yeah, the Conan days.
That's right. Yeah.
But Jason Ryan, the Malibu Lion, I like that because it's very fitting for you, even though you're the Costa Rican lion.
It's
now.
very good. I mean, I still claim Malibu.
Yes.
I still claim Los Angeles. I mean, many decades here, of course. It's still my life, but Costa Rica is my new happy place for peace of mind. Yeah.
Now, let's get into the history because I only have a certain set of time with you because I'm technically on my lunch break and then I got to head back to the home studio. Yeah, you too?
Yeah.
I know the show's still happening.
We're still working in down the hall. Yes.
An Sketcho Show Podcast exclusive happening right now with Jason Ryan, executive producer of Big Boy's Neighborhood. If I didn't state that clearly, let me state that now. Jason Ryan, you started on Big Boy's Neighborhood. From when I met you, 1998 is when I was introed to you.
That's
when
right.
I started working with you.
That's right.
But you started, I think, 10 months before me on Big Boy's show, at least being on. But your radio history is far more extensive than that. You climbed the ladder. You've been in radio for how long now?
Well, 94 is when I started. I started in 94 at KISS. Same station, different building, different company.
It was owned by J-Corps back then, or who
There
was
was
it?
In the very beginning of my day, it was Gannett, and then I believe it went J-Corps, and then I don't know what happened after that because then I left KISS.
Yeah.
I was a van driver, so I was a promo guy. Obviously it was my second job. I was going to college. I was getting my master's, but I had this love for radio, and KISS was my thing. I grew up on Rick Dees and all those bits and all.
We're burning your bun.
That's right. Willard Wiseman.
What is it, Wiseman? We're doing stuff. Oh.
Hey, how you doing?
Don't do that.
On
with
the
that
weekly hop to hear you.
Top 40.
My name is Willard Wiseman, your radio station technician.
No, it's technician.
And I just wanted to say...
Ellen K,
course,
from
we're right next to her.
the first days of Ellen K, of course, in L.A., being Rick's right hand.
It's the real prince, and when
FM, the #1 hit music station, and 2 songs for you. Kiss from a Rose by Seal and I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor, and $10,000. Just listen for them on Kiss.
That's what I grew up with, and I always had a love for radio. So yeah, I started at Kiss all the way back then.
And you wanting to get into radio, did you want to be on the radio, or did you just want to work in the radio industry? What was your main objective as a young man getting into radio?
So at that point, I mean, I'm 21, 22 years old. So I didn't have it figured out. I just knew that I loved radio and I wanted to be around it, right?
Yeah.
And once I got in, it's interesting, of course, how things make so much more sense later, but it's like I was going to college to get my teaching credential, which I did. I taught for a year. I also got my master's in marketing. I started in radio as a weekend van driver, like I said. Then I got but then I made inroads with jocks who liked some of my ideas, and we became friends. And then I got my first producing gig with the Nasty Man who worked at Kiss. When he left and got a talk show in town.
I remember Nasty Man. Liz worked with Nasty Man as well.
Yes, I am the bald man with the tan from Guam. The Nasty Man set to bang nearly 1 hour nonstop, and we are going to bang the drum Nasty Man style.
KLSX was Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Hey now. To you. Yes. Hey now.
Tom Likas.
That's the one.
Tom Likas. Thank you for tuning into the Tom Likas Show. This is where America gets together to talk about the issues you really care about.
Conway and Steckler. Conway still works in this building.
That's right, on KFI.
That's right.
Ding dong!
And we were at night. And so that was my first producing gig. Mm-hmm. And we just absolutely ran it into the ground. I mean, when you say crash the car, like we crashed the car lot. We crashed the entire agency there.
That's when you can get away with stuff like that back in the day, right?
Well, I mean, it was learning. Mm-hmm. We were learning on the job, and the show didn't last because we blew it. And that was just the honest truth. Wow. And then I heard about the opening with Big Boy, and got the job with Big, and 25 and a half years later, just with Big.
I mean,
here we are.
That's like a long relationship, considering you guys are not just in business together, but you're friends. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that relationship evolved over these 2 decades and plus. But my question is also in regards to just hearing of Big Boy's show, did you listen to Big Boy or did you know who he was? Because he was on in the afternoon for a number of years.
Correct.
And then he got moved to the morning. Correct. Right? The Bakers went to the afternoon. Were you listening to Power at the time, or were you just kind of did you just get wind of it through a R&R, like an ad in the paper?
I didn't know anything
really
about Big Boy. Or I knew what Power 106 was. Right. Because I passed it on the dial when you actually dialed the radio. Right. I passed it and didn't stop. I did not know. What I did know is this. I did know that that I could run a morning show. Mm. And I was 25 years old.
Because of your Rick Dees?
The audacity I had at 25 years old. And when I heard about the opening, and I said, of course I'm going to swing for that. Because I can produce this show. I mean, I've always had great confidence, but again, in hindsight, it makes sense now because it's what was I doing? In college, I was learning to teach, and what was I doing in my master's? I was learning how to market brands, and that's what I do. It's like I coach talent on a daily basis on the best way to get the laughs, on the best way to present the show. And I'm marketing this giant brand, which now for 25 years is gone everywhere.
Yeah, that you guys built together. Because when you first started, the show wasn't getting the A-list, guests, right? I remember when I started with you guys in '98, we were getting some alien conspiracy type people, you know what I mean? Early guests before we started getting the Schwarzenegger, before we started getting the movie people and music artists were coming through. But it was getting those bigger guests was kind of, it took a
time.
While. Right.
It took time. And the thing was it was interesting how the tide changes too with this long of a career, because in the very beginning, you know, I was the white kid, and what does he know, right? And not in a disrespectful way, but just truth.
Yeah.
And Big at that point was already a legend in the sense that like he had like gone to number one at night for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, and then he went to number one in the afternoons for a year and a half, 2 years. He was 3 years in with hits, and I'm here for 2 weeks. To talking about scheduling meetings and closing the studio door so people don't hang out in here like a lounge. We're going to actually do some work.
Right.
Oh my God, did I get fucking pushback on all that? But yes, on the guests, like I mean, the show had the right parts. It just really needed better orchestration, management, production. And that is where my expertise in time came in. And as Big Boy and Big Boy's Neighborhood grew, like the understanding has always been with Big is like, I don't teach you hip hop and you don't teach me structure.
Right.
Like we both have our very different core strengths.
Yeah, like the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
You guys work perfectly with each other.
Right. And yeah, I mean, Big, it tells his side of it, of course, too, but it's like, yeah, I mean, he was, even in the very beginning, I mean, he was resistant towards having a producer or a director.
Right.
Because he didn't think he needed it.
Right.
And, I mean,
and it was just a different time as well.
Yeah.
Like, the radio has evolved so much. But I want to ask you, it seems like you've always had this innate aptitude for structure and producing and directing ever since I met you. And that's not just blowing smoke, J-Ride, because I met you when I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
And immediately, the first meeting I had with you, the interview I had with you, it seemed like you had it down. And what I'd like to point out is the consistency that you've had since then till right now has been the same.
Yeah.
Like you've always maintained this level of consistency, which quite frankly makes me a little jealous because I'm just like, man, how did you learn that from your mom? How did you establish that kind of like discipline and structure, like for a radio show, but then apply it? Where did you learn it from?
I mean, that is really hard to answer because. So here's what happened. Here's what happens sometimes, and I'm sure my staff would jump in on this too. But like, I feel like my expectations are so high, and my level of tightness is so wound up on what I expect and how I want things executed. But I can't say that like there was an exact way or like, oh, here was this source. I mean, I believe that of course it was, here's the one place I feel that I could attribute it to. And it was listening to the radio all the time and going to school in the morning and leaving my tape deck running to tape while I was gone at school to see how much I could capture, come back, listen to it, and then I would take out the commercials and I would take out the songs I didn't like, and I would like make my own little mixtapes before that was a thing.
Wow.
So even then, again, if I'm just trying to grasp something here, like I was already figuring out to me like, okay, well, here's the best way I'm going to put together a show of my own with bits from Rick Dees or me calling in for a contest on KKHR or any of these things, that were going on. And so, I mean, I don't have an exact way of saying like how I learned it. I don't know. I think I'm just wired.
I think you were just born with it. Like I said, it's innate. It came with the DNA of Jason Ryan.
I think so.
Where are you originally from, Jason? Because I don't know where you were born.
Yeah, Orange County, California.
Orange County. I was going to say Irvine.
I was born right down the street from Knott's Berry Farm. That's been so long the hospital doesn't even exist anymore.
Wow.
And grew up in South Orange County. So like Irvine, Tustin, grandparents down in Newport Coast area. So, Yeah, that was like the first half of my life was down there until my 20s.
A young little J. Rye running around. And then what did your mom do for a living? Like when you were raised by your mom? Right?
Yeah, right. Single mom household. And mom was, working in offices. She worked for a liquor distributor. She worked for an advertising agency. The second half of her career, she was mostly working in banking.
Yeah.
In finance.
So nothing in radio, no family member in media like
Zero.
you. Nothing. You were the
Zero.
first, right?
Oh, everything. All of my love for it came from listening to the fun that was Los Angeles morning radio.
Yeah.
And some afternoon shows too. But it was mostly about this circus of laughs and fun that was going on in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Man. But you said you were a teacher.
That's right.
For a while before the radio thing really popped off. These were like some of
it even overlapped for a moment because the Kiss van came to my school that I was teaching at in Irvine and was the background music with Todd Violet actually came and hosted it, and it was there for their jogathon. So it overlapped for a little bit. But again, just like having a keen sense of self, after 1 year of teaching, I said, I'm not going to do this. Because,
what were you teaching?
Third grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I could see that.
Yeah. And I just was like, even at that very young age, I could see the politics, and I could see that the administrators were not interested in actually like growing or changing or fixing things. Right. And I'm like, I can't stay here because I'm going to get in trouble.
Right.
Because I'm just too much of a bull. Like when I want something and when I see the way something should be, I don't stop until it's that way.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same in that a lot of aspects where it's a consistency, efficiency, and focus. And if you don't match that, what I'm putting out, I take it personal.
Yeah.
And you don't seem to take it personal. You always seem to have an even keel, even though I can tell sometimes like things are agitating.
Yeah.
You don't seem to ever blow a gasket like the old O-Matic over here.
Well, but I can't.
Right.
Because also, I mean, I'm a boss, right? So it's like I have to wear it differently, and I just feel like it's a skill though. It takes time. I mean, I haven't always been that way, and it doesn't mean that like I'm always levitating and shit and everything's but like how I handle things comes from a calmer space whenever possible.
Yeah,
but that's why I say fuck and shit like that. Because sometimes that lets a little bit of the pressure out.
I love
without the buildup.
Love dropping F-bombs all day. You should see me at home, J. Rye. I'm at home cursing at my computer screen. Every other word, it's like, like they say, he curses like a sailor. I'm like in between the fucking motherfucking fuck, all that.
Right.
Because it does help in some degree.
Right.
And then I feel bad for cursing so much. Do you ever feel, well, I'm going to go down a whole different path here. I wanted to point something out. Let me change direction real quick because when I saw you, I hadn't seen you. Last time I saw you in person was like, what, a year ago, maybe?
I left the States probably about 16 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you're in Costa Rica producing the show from there, from your office studio there.
That's right.
Which you go and you're on the screen. So Big sees you, right?
Yep.
And he even told me when he was on the podcast early on when the podcast first started, he was on episode 10.
Nice.
He was like, yeah, man, J. Rye's doing a phenomenal job from Costa. You know what he says it?
Yeah.
Phenomenal job from Costa Rica. And I was all, really?
Yeah.
And you had just gotten off the screen.
Well, would he accept anything less?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I mean, if it had not worked,
right,
you'd probably be back here. Let me ask you, what made you move to Costa Rica? Can we talk about that? Or should we
can talk about anything?
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I'm at a point in my life where I just wanted some more peace and tranquility, and Los Angeles is no longer going to be the place that's going to provide that for me. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. I don't need Los Angeles to do that. And so I made the decision that I wanted to be somewhere else.
Interesting.
The complexities of that is that my business partner of many years, Big Boy, is still, a huge product and brand
icon.
that we and there's still a lot of shows to make, and he's not ready to stop.
Right.
I was okay with him saying, okay, if you're going to go, you're going to go. He didn't. But we worked it out. We figured it out. But I needed something different for myself. I just had a son. He's just about to turn 2 years old. And I wanted to do something really different with him.
Yeah. And can I point out, well, I'd be remiss to say, congratulations. It's another podcast, Sketcho Show podcast exclusive, even though we know you have a son.
Yeah.
The people listening that may not know, or, if they're not in the know, Jason Ryan just had Del Ryan.
Yeah.
Right? Which ironically is my grandfather's name, or was my grandfather's name.
Interesting.
His name was Del Ray, Delfino Ray. Right. And I remember you had a little contest when you're like, can you guess the son's name?
Right, because we knew nobody was going to guess it.
And I was going full Irish names like Jameson.
That's right.
Just so
Everybody was going for like the Irish lawyer, right?
Yeah. And you came out and you said his name's Del, and I was like, man.
Right.
I should. Did anybody win? Nobody won.
Nobody got it.
Nobody got it.
Not at all.
And this is your first son. You have two daughters that are pretty much
older.
Are they adults now?
Yeah.
They are. They're young adults now.
Yeah, 20 and 18. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
crazy,
remember
right?
I met you before they were even here.
Of course.
And now they're full.
We've known each other longer than any of the kids.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's wild. And now Del Rye is here.
Yep.
Shout out to Coco, right?
That's right.
And she's in Costa Rica as well with you, raising Del, Del Rye?
Yeah.
That is wild.
We're down there on this parenting adventure in another place. We both speak Spanish, so that helps.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's a different world there. It's a very green country. It's a very calmer country. They're very into psychedelics and plant medicine and things like that are very important to me from a therapeutic side. I really feel there's a huge future in that.
Absolutely.
America's not going to do that.
No, just in little bits.
Anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't I just be in the place that is going to, make my mind and my heart happier on a regular basis. And because, with our business, it's like there's no such thing as like real time off. It's like, the show is on every day of the year, everywhere in the world. So there's no taking a month off or something like that. So that's kind of how we worked it out, was as long as nothing slipped with quality or delivery or any aspect of the show, I could be where I wanted to be, as opposed to trying to get on a plane to leave to go take a longer vacation, which just isn't possible.
Yeah, vacations.
Because we make too many shows.
And not only that, but when you do vacation, you create more work for yourself.
It's not any easier.
Yeah, in radio.
It is never any easier.
I don't take vacations.
Yeah.
I work from home, which I'm fortunate.
Yeah.
But it's not cheap. You know what I mean? It's so expensive to live in Burbank, in Los Angeles.
Of course.
Now. I'm guessing that
you have to be rich to be poor.
Exactly.
I mean, it's that. And again, not to get into all the social commentary of that too, but it's such a depressing place.
It is.
With all of the homeless.
Yeah.
And it didn't used to be that way. And it's not like a political finger point.
No, Joe Rogan says the same thing.
I don't think it's like one person's fault or even a group of, or one political party's fault. I just feel that the world is leaving a ton of people behind.
Yeah.
And what's the answer? I don't fucking know.
It's like there is no answer.
I don't know.
There's just little Band-Aids to put over it here and there that last for so long.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
just
it.
depressing.
I know.
I just don't.
Way, Jay.
I just don't feel it, man.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I feel like LA is my home. It is as it is yours.
Yeah.
But just like Rogan said, it's become to a point now where there's so many people in Los Angeles, and every part of it, there's all these different little counties, different cities. We're in Burbank right now, but even Burbank, as mellow as it is, there's so many people just in each other's way.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing in Costa Rica, or even we're in Austin, Texas, where Joe Rogan lives now, I was thinking about moving to Nevada. I sent you an email, you and Big, thinking even if I stay here, work here, just like you stay in the business, I kind of want to leave just because I can't afford it on the money that I'm making. Not that I'm saying, give me more money. It's just I can't afford what I have now based on the salary, which is fine because I work my ass off and I'm able to get by. But I'd like to save a little bit of money and not worry about state taxes, which in California, it's 14%. It's insanity.
I'm keenly aware. But right. So I feel everything you just said.
Yeah.
And imagine you're still a productive adult making decent money, right? That's why there's all these other people on the street.
Right.
Is because even if they're, let's just say 20% below what's happening for you, if you find it a struggle, look at who the hell can get their own place if they're a greeter at Walmart, just as an example.
Right.
Like, there's just so many people getting left behind. And like I said, it's just really fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I can help with it. And that, it bugs me. So Costa Rica is very different. Again, it doesn't mean like it's not a rich country by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But there's much more family. There's, lots more people, stay living together, if they can't leave the nest. And you just don't see the things there that you see here. And also, I mean, it's a lot smaller. I mean,
And people are nicer, right? Obviously. Is there freeways?
No,
there's no freeway.
I mean, there's a couple of highways, but they don't go very far.
Right. Not like here.
God, no.
Not even close.
No. like it's like 5 hours to go to the coast from where I live. And it's only like 40 miles.
How long does it take to go around the whole island?
Oh, it's not an island. Costa Rica is in the contiguous
okay.
Central
I'm thinking
America.
like it's like a little island off.
It's not. So many people, they get it confused with Puerto Rico. No.
It's
island life, man. No. No. I mean, it's tropical, but it's not an island.
Jay Wright, there's a couple more things I want to point out before we get into the phone tap side of things.
Sure.
Where you've been featured in so many of the phone taps. But and that I've had the pleasure of editing over the years, alongside Johnny Barba, and there was Rick as well, and of course Edgar, who was in the house over at Power for a while.
Marco,
Marco Barba, of course, Marco.
Too. Mm-hmm.
So shout out to all those gentlemen. But yeah, you are still surfing, right?
Well, I'm not close enough to surf often enough, so I'm gonna say. Surf is still in my blood, but it's not happening because I'm not right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you still own the spot in Malibu, right?
Yes.
Quick sidebar. When it was like hurricaning and raining like crazy and you were in Costa Rica and it was raining here in Los Angeles, I was worried. I've never been to your place, but I thought about it multiple times. I'm like, who's looking after his place? Did he get flooded? Did you have any damage, sustain any damage or anything?
Nothing significant.
Okay.
No. I mean, but Malibu's all on borrowed time. I mean, all that
it's
shit.
Scary.
Sandy hills that are all going to end up in the water.
It's constantly evolving.
If not in my lifetime, within 50, 60 years, all that shit's going to be.
Were your daughters going by to check on the house or something? Or, I mean, did you have cameras? How did you maintain?
I love my daughters dearly, but they are in their own lives. They're not thinking about dad's investment or their inheritance for that matter.
Right.
But no, that's not even a close.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, I'm glad that nothing happened because I just was like, man, I sprung a leak in my apartment, in my little tiny apartment. It's an old building, but I just thought, I was like, man, if this is happening here, it's got to be happening a lot of different places. And I thought when you were one of the people that thought it popped in my head just because you weren't here. And I'm like, what happens when something goes down? Do you have somebody go check on it or, how does it work?
I've got, many decades of friends and acquaintances and business people. So the stuff's handled. No problem.
That's cool.
I'll tell you what one of the differences is though, is that, okay, so like that event of the LA hurricane that people were, like that can happen in Costa Rica, like on a weekly basis and only for like 10 minutes at a time, meaning you'll be like, oh, okay, the clouds are rolling in. And then it's like every drop of water from Earth drops on you and you think the roof is going to cave in.
Yeah.
In 15 minutes, it's done.
Yeah. It rains every day.
To some level, it's kind of Hawaii-ish, where it's like it's that's why it stays so green and beautiful.
Yeah, is it below the equator? Are we below the equator?
Not quite.
You're near it though.
Yes.
Is it true that the water goes the other direction when you? I
mean, they say that about Australia and below the equator. I haven't spent much time.
I've yet to see any video on TikTok or anything proving that. I
don't spend a lot of time filming my feces going down the toilet, so I don't look at which way the water's going. But I'll be happy to check out your TikTok for that. Yeah.
Please do and film it, minus the feces, just the swirl. Jason, I got to point out, man, upon looking at you and taking you, and you could put your drink on the thing. You don't have to put it on the floor. Yeah, you don't have to Jump in.
I just didn't want to make noise.
I hear you on that. I got to point out that you look fantastic, Jason. I've known you for many years. You look like when I first met you, when I was 19.
Well,
In fact, I think you even look better because you've always been a big guy. Not meaning like overweight, fat.
I have a big frame.
But you're big boned, right? You got.
I used to play hockey, so it was my job to knock the crap out of people as a defenseman.
Yeah.
And so I've always had a big build, and then it turned into fat big build.
Well, you got Now, whatever was happening in your life at that time, I'm guessing that obviously played a part into you gaining weight, right? After you guys left Power, right?
Yeah.
And you came to iHeart. I mean, it was such a drastic change that you lost weight. You got really into shape.
Yeah.
You were still big, but you got really like big, like buff.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And now you're like skinny. What's going on?
So I'll tell you what it is. And again,
what's your regimen?
I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's called Taking Your Time Back. And so it's my new book. You can get it now. Click below. But here's the thing about living in Los Angeles and with the hours and everything that we work, right? On a daily basis, I was spending at least 90 minutes in the car of driving from my house to the studio and then twice as bad going back, right? In the afternoon. So I said when I moved that every minute that I used to spend in the car is now on a daily basis going back to me. And so every single day I spend at least an hour on the bike in my house.
Right.
And then I spend, the gym is open 6 days a week. And so I'm in the gym every single day that they're open. And I'm doing, like weight training. I'm doing physical therapy because again, I'm getting old, so it's like I've got, injuries and stuff from back in the day when I wasn't paying attention, to myself and hockey injuries and stuff like that. So I am really taking care of myself.
Yeah, you can tell, man.
And because I'm in my house broadcasting with the show and big and in the gym, like that's my life.
Yeah.
And there is no fuckery all the time we're living in Los Angeles, like what a gift as a young person where every single night you want to go see, there's an artist performing, there's a secret show, there's a comedy show, there's a movie screening, there's a something every night. There's some awful experience that I'm going to regret later, involving drugs or something. It's just, that's LA. And because of working in entertainment, the key was available to everything. And I did it all. And now I'm done.
Yeah.
And so now it's about just really taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And after all this time, the body still knows what it should be doing, which is a miracle.
I know, it's crazy.
That that it can come back from all of the damage I have
your organs
created it.
What was it? The liver.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this on something about Fleischman. It was a show on Hulu. And one of the lines that Jesse Eisenberg had was like, the liver is one of the most forgiving things we have in our body.
Yeah.
It practically forgets.
And
now I can attest to that because, as you well know, I was a heavy fucking drinker back in the day. A lot of party favors, snorting up Peru. Never been there.
But you had to deliver.
It was unbelievable. I should be dead, my friend. The amount of stuff.
We have that in common.
Yes. Now I look back in retrospect and I'm like, how the fuck am I still here? And I don't even remember what alcohol tastes like. I just know I felt like shit all the time.
Right.
And now it's like I'm just, again, it's the liver, it's the organs working themselves out. You look better than I think you've ever looked sined I've known you.
Thank you.
You really do. You look super in shape. You look healthy.
Another tip for us, middle-aged guys, collagen. Make sure you're putting collagen on a daily basis into, some type of shake or something.
Really?
This bottle.
Is that what you're drinking right now?
Every one of my liquid supplements and things.
Yeah.
I'm always it's something protein. It's something collagen.
Are you a vegetable guy, Jason?
Well, in order to keep my gains with the gym, it's like I still eat more meat than I used to, but like my regimen right now is so good, I'm just not questioning it. It is really working for me, and that's hard to say because many times oh, do keto, oh, do vegan, oh, do like none of it ever stuck.
Right. Nothing
after all
ever
these
sticks.
years. Right
Kale.
now, like I've got it.
Yeah, you have
And
it down.
It's working. And also, again, it's mindset. So that's why I said too, like I loved LA and all of it. I loved every minute of it, but it was also very dark, right? And there were bad choices that I'd made in time. So it's like not being in that is so helpful for me. Having the ability to make that choice is so helpful. But also, like I said, the psychedelics, the therapeutic value of things like, mushrooms and ayahuasca and things like that. Like, I know to some people, they don't know what I'm talking about, or they're like, oh, it's just another drug. Like,
no,
not really.
Not really at all.
Not if
That's like a portal to another dimension.
Yeah. Like if you, right. And like and in some way, not to sound all crazy hippie, but like, aren't we all looking for some better understanding of ourselves or this universe
I
that
like
we're
how
in?
Joe Rogan says what psychedelics do. It acts like it, and also working out, but psychedelics for the mind. It's like wringing out the wet rag. You know what I mean? Where you're just you're like getting you basically are resetting, rebooting your brain, and also creating new neural pathways in your brain. That's what apparently mushrooms and psilocybin does.
Yes.
Microdosing. I've never done ayahuasca. I've done shrooms before. Yeah. But to the point where, it does reset me. I remember doing it in my 20s. I did it in Amsterdam, but I came back here and I did like radioactive mushrooms. I mean, they were so powerful that I didn't want to do them anymore because they were like frightening. Too much. Yeah. But after it's not like I had a bad trip. It just was like, I don't need to keep doing that. Right. I'm cool. Like the well runs dry, and I was chasing like this real hardcore psychedelic experience, which I did have. But then once you keep going, it's almost like your body's like, you've done enough.
Well, it's smart that you have the ability to understand the limit. Yeah. Because you said chasing. That right there tells you it's not the right thing.
Just like vape chasing.
Whether it's a substance, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a lover. Yeah. Chasing is never healthy.
It never helps. That's why I just stopped chasing. Jason, I noticed when you said about the being in LA, obviously being around like, a lot of things that you can make bad choices on, including the food they have in LA here. Of course. There's so many fast food places, so many Chick-fil-A's, this and that, McDonald's. We both live to partake in Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Diet Pepsi and whatnot. I remember that was your drink of choice. Of course. For years. You're not drinking any more of that. You're doing shakes. But what kind of food do they have in Costa Rica? Do they have fast food down there as well? Or is it just mainly...
There is American influence. Mm-hmm. It's very small, though, because people mostly cook at home. Now, if I want to find like the gourmet chef place, of course that exists. But it's a lot of... It's really low key for the most part. Like it's like simpler life, simpler people, simpler foods. Yeah. Because like how many Costa Rican restaurants have you been to in LA?
Not one.
Zero, because it's just not a thing. Yeah. Like their food is so boring.
Is it?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's that they don't make chains of it because it's beans and rice and maybe a little plantain and like it's so simple.
Are you cooking for yourself at home now, or is Coco or what's
somebody makes my food because again I'm working, but that's the whole point because I'm seated. It's like my food comes at 8 and 10 and 12 and 2 and everything is perfectly like regimented. I could never do that when I was here in the studios.
That's great, man. That's
so it's
really
like
great.
That's a huge part. The food, the mindset,
discipline,
the activity.
Yeah.
It's like I was never a person that accepted excuses in a career, so I don't accept it for myself either. Like I'm in one place. Everything can be done exactly that it needs to be done.
Yeah. I feel you, Jason. The one thing I remember from you that I still use today, that I've used on other people that I learned from you was unacceptable. I swear, man, you rubbed that off on me. Pause, but you know what I mean? Like I really heeded that. I remember because you said that to me one time. Oh, actually more than once. But it was one time that really stood out to me where I came up to you and I was like, I can't. And you were like, Sketch, this is unacceptable. You didn't yell. You didn't curse. Right. You were just like, this is unacceptable, period. And I was reaching for any excuse I could possibly find. Sure. I was going to pull a muscle. And you were just like, Sketch, it's just unacceptable. And since then, it really stuck with me. So now when I see other folks doing stuff And I'm not going to knock. We're not going to name bash. I'm not here to do that.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's not just people that work here. It's people across the industry that I've worked alongside with that do stuff that makes me go, this is unacceptable. How much are you getting paid again? You know what I mean? Like where that feeling where it's like, I'm not, but you see, I know that I'm not perfect and I don't know what's going on in their lives, but I wanted to point out that you did teach me quite a lot over these years. And I feel like I don't want to just gloss over how much I have learned from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In discipline and consistency and focus and making sure that whatever you do, you're delivering to the highest level. And I think in one part for sure, it's because I'm sober now. I mean, I still smoke weed and I vape and I drink coffee, which I...
No, but you are a different person.
Yes.
I mean, even like what you're describing, it's like, we had some very intense moments over our careers.
Yeah, man.
Meaning you.
Yeah.
And I was receiving it for a moment, and I put a stop to it.
Yeah.
But it was, it's maturing. And I also will say that, like, it's like, I always make way for talent. And one of the other keys that I've always said to Big, because this over 25 years, we've had a lot of people that we've worked with, and then we've had a lot of people that we've let go. For one reason or another. And I always said to Big, because we get into these big discussions, and I said, I don't have to like this person, but I understand that they could add this to it. So even sometimes we had people that were fucking toxic that were around us, and that's not good either. But just in the exact moment, I could always separate the product from having to like the person or having to be the friend. So like for me, most people on the show would not say like friendly would be like my top 5 qualities. But that's not my job. My job is to win. And so I think that I am fair, but I'm extremely firm and I'm extremely like, okay, that's really funny. And then, okay, let's go.
Right. You're really good at
we gotta go back.
compartmentalizing.
I mean, that's just what I found my role to be from day one, because, Big was, everybody loves Big, and he's a huge personality. And it's like, that's his role. So you do all that, and I'll be over here, making sure that we, stay on track.
I don't like to be prideful of too many things, and I don't like to bask in the happiness of good things happening, because I always feel like there's 20 bad things waiting around the corner.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm going to point out is I am, alongside you and Big, we are the oldest members of this morning show.
That's
right?
correct.
Like
Yeah,
the
that's
oldest
true. That's true.
still working member. Obviously, Big Boy, he is the show.
Yes.
Executive producer Jason Ryan.
Yeah.
And Sketch, the production.
That's right.
And it's been like that for, obviously, I left for a while and I came back, but
But off and on, you're got to be 20 years.
25.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25. It's pretty crazy, man, to consider, like, when I wake up sometimes on the weekend and I think, when I have a moment to reflect, or even if I go for a walk and I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, I'm still part of this.
Right.
And it feels very surreal at times. Do you ever get those feelings, Jason, where, you wake up in Costa Rica, you're on the screen with Big? Do you ever reflect? You know how Big even says, remember when he'd even wake up and he'd come to the station, we were at Power, and he'd punch in his code and the door would open. He would trip out sometimes on that. He'd go, not just because the door opened.
They didn't change their mind yet.
It's just, but he would go like, wow, I'm Big Boy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he would say that to himself in his mind. Do you ever reflect like that?
Constantly.
Yeah.
I have, again, with time, for me also comes like great gratitude, and I'm eternally grateful for the first people ever that gave me a chance, that opened the door, and then my biggest chance ever in believing in me was Big.
Yeah.
Right. For all of this success that we've been able to create together, and we just had this conversation again last week.
Yeah.
Where Big said, I was sitting in bed last night and I couldn't fall asleep, and I was having the same thought that I have all the time. He's like, what if I never met you? Wow. And it's like, and I say, well, it works both ways. Yeah. It's that sliding door movie, right? So it's like, if we had taken the left door instead of the right door, it's like, Big would of course been wildly successful at something, but would it have been like this? Probably not. Not exactly, right? And then for me, it's like I would have found my way, and I'm a driven motherfucker. Like I would have been running something else.
What do you think
right?
your career would have been, Jason? If we can dive into that real quick.
It probably would have still steered into something creative, because again, growing up in LA, it's like there just was always a fascination with, the entertainment industry. And so whether it would have been radio or television or movies or something, I don't spend much time thinking about that because we're still working full time. You know what I mean? And it's like, and this whole empire of what this career has become between the radio and the television and, all of the digital products that we make too. It's like, I don't have time to really think. I don't have a great answer for that.
That's cool.
But it's, I don't know. And with the grace of everything, I've never had to.
I'm looking at it as like Howard Stern, the longevity of Howard Stern. Obviously, I'm not putting myself up to that level. I'm just saying longevity. Radio, you can have longevity.
Sure.
He has, and now podcasts are out, and I'm wondering, like, what's next? What happens, 10 years from now? What do you think is going to happen in radio in general? Because radio seems, what's radio like to you now? Considering you've been in it for so long, and you were there when radio was kind of like the Wild West. You can get away with a lot more stuff. Tom Likas and, even at Power, when we were doing Big Boys phone tabs, we could say crazy shit. Remember, we did Bill Clinton.
I miss Tom Likas. Yeah. I know he's still doing some digital stuff, but I miss Tom Likas. I miss him, and I miss Howard because you don't have satellite. You can't get satellite radio.
You can't get Howard
but it's okay. I catch bits and pieces on YouTube and stuff.
Right.
But what is radio going to be? I think it's interesting because we work for the biggest radio company that there is and probably ever will be.
Yeah, radio conglomerate.
Being iHeart, and I think it's going to be what they design it to be. Meaning, of course, it's like your radio stations and your products need to be responsive to listeners and where the trends are and things like that. But this company is still the gatekeeper,
right,
of how it goes or how it doesn't go. Right.
Right.
And so I think it's going to be, their strategy, and again, please, any iHeart strategists don't come kick me. But my observation is that, iHeart collects diamonds.
Yeah.
And so that's why, they have Ryan Seacrest, and that's why they have, Elvis Duran, and that's why they have Big Boy and The Breakfast Club and The Woody Show and Ellen Kay and Valentine. And, excuse me, there's 100 more names, and I'm just
there's
stop.
A ton of more names.
But that is the business decision they made, is that we're going to get the best possible people at this craft, and then we're going to pay them right, and we're going to, create this, oasis, if you will, and find all the different ways we can use their talent and put it out, whether it's, radio, some of them have television shows, the podcasting, of course, the live events and all of that. Nobody has done it better in the history of radio of what this design
it's so
has
massive.
been. I don't think there's any reason to change it unless for some reason the bottom falls out of the business end, because of course you still have to find a way to pay people. But I don't see anything changing because you're going to have shifts with, where the listening is going and people doing other things with all these devices and ways to, make your own playlists and all of that. But at the end of the day, some people still want a friend, and they make relationships with radio people. Like the person that, is talking to you in your car as you're driving is different than the little voice coming on in between songs on your Spotify or on the iHeart app even.
Right.
It's like, it's just a relationship. It's a feeling. And there could be, in the long time, if no one even started with having somebody talk to you as you're going to school in the morning, if you never start your life with radio, well, then maybe eventually it could die out.
Right.
But
and now with AI happening, there's so many things. Jason, let's do this because I want to play some of the clips of the phone taps that you've done.
Oh, no.
But before we do that, real quick,
Yeah.
what's the hardest part of being the executive producer for Big Boys Neighborhood? Not meaning hardest as in working with them, but just being the executive producer. What's the hardest part about that?
It's a lot of responsibility, and it's 24 hours a day because there's always something that has to be tended to. It's such a big empire, and again, I love every minute of it, but people don't understand. I'm not picking up my phone because I'm looking at TikTok. I'm picking up my phone because something's happening.
Right.
And it's we've got 14 staff members. It's something from one of them.
Yeah.
It's something from one of the 15 directors, presidents, vice presidents,
One of the 60
commissioners.
right?
I mean, no offense, but they don't get the bat phone.
Oh,
okay. But I'm just saying, like, there's of course there's a gazillion people that I have to still.
yeah, and including me on GroupMe, I'm messaging you. What does this mean?
But there's always something, right? When I just randomly change the names of things without telling you. Yeah. My
I
bad.
usually have a good time figuring that out, but
Right.
today it threw me. Go ahead.
But that's the most challenging thing is that be careful what you wish for,
Right.
because everything for this brand at some point touches me.
Right.
So therefore, the more we do, the bigger everything gets. It's like the work never goes
No, it never stops.
lower.
Right.
But that's what it is. This is the Frankenstein, the most beautiful Frankenstein we've created.
Yeah. 28 years now in the making, right?
Yeah.
Full from at least from Big Boy's morning show career beginning till now. It's been 28 years.
Well, Big
right?
and I started radio not together at about the same time.
Right.
So like our total radio is about 29 this year. And then together it's about 25 and a half.
Wild.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild, Jason?
It's just ridiculous.
It's
so ridiculous.
It's so surreal.
It's almost embarrassing because just another like nonsense, like looking back about like time and aging and all of that too is like, people talk about like this or like, cause I've had some horrible things happen in my life too, but but what are we talking about here? We're talking about the greatest stuff that's
Right.
happened because this is like everything that people know about.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I say. I say, my life is high highs and low lows.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. And so it's like, things like this, we've created this thing that's just this runaway, hit for all these years. Well, of course, there's got to be some balance.
Yeah. There's always a price
and
to
there's
pay.
right. And so there's low lows, in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's nothing but gratitude because what a pleasure to get to do it. I mean, I would estimate that 95% of people on this planet will never do what they want. They will never get
Right.
that job or the freedom to create something that they wanted or be their own boss or whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
And I have nothing but gratitude.
I wonder
that-
how
that
many
the path has gone this way.
I wonder how many executive producers like yourself of morning shows are able to do. I think you'd probably be one out of maybe, I don't know how many executive producers are in the radio industry, but producing from Costa Rica. I mean, how many people are doing that, do you think?
It's a bizarre situation on its face. However, because of the intricacy of the product and Big doesn't want anyone else doing it.
Yeah.
And I earned it. I created it. And COVID, I mean, apologies to, the COVID, taking people's lives. But yet, on the other hand, COVID taught us that we can do so much more to not actually be in the same room.
Yeah. And it made podcasts even bigger.
Right.
It made Zoom bigger and it made podcasts bigger.
I mean, that's what I do though too, is I'm always looking, I'm always analyzing. And so like, I learned so much during that time, even while I was sick and like, not scared, but like, I was just like, I don't know what the fuck.
Oh,
is
that's
going
right. You
on.
were the first person to get COVID in the morning show, right?
I was really sick.
Out of like
right?
anybody in this building. And it was before there was a vaccine. Nobody really knew what it was.
It was scary.
Yeah, man.
It was scary. And
I remember you went for like a run. You were doing Joe Rogan workouts and shit. I was like, what the hell?
Well, because I felt that was the way to do it.
Yeah, and you knocked it out. And there was, I mean, wow, man. Something I got to also put a light on is that it's because of Jason Ryan that phone taps became a segment. It's not just because of Big doing them.
Yeah.
You actually put them on the schedule. You were the one who told Big, because you saw him at the station one time doing a phone tap to it weren't even called phone taps. He was just pranking somebody in security or Poquito Mas across the street. And you heard him.
Yeah.
And you said, we can put that on the air.
I did.
And then it became a thing. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, he tells the story way better, but yeah, it was basically, back in the day, shows weren't even being like fully recorded and saved, and he would roll tape on old ass fucking fragile reel to reel.
Yeah,
and he had them in his locker, and he would just it's just his nature. He's always pranking and joking and taking a joke a couple steps farther than you expect, so you can't believe that he's joking because he's still going on with
and you don't
this.
know when he's serious.
Right.
That's the problem.
And so, yes, I was hearing these things he was doing with people. And again, like I grew up, listening to Rick Dees, and he had Candid Phone and Willard Wiseman and these phone bits. And I was listening to that. And because Big had shifted from, nights to afternoon to mornings, mornings, there's a much higher expectation for bits and content, right? Mm-hmm. Especially, in Los Angeles. And so, yeah, I mean, I just my nature of like what I liked, I was like, we could play that,
Yeah.
And we cut it up and put it on the air and that was great.
And it's still to this day the biggest segment on Big Boys.
It's still the
Neighborhood.
number one feature. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes he kicks me under the table for it because he started with one, and then I said, well, do you have another? And then like he ran through the whole locker because he only had like maybe taped 5.
Right.
Yeah. And then it became a daily feature, and it first started at 7:10, and then it went to 7:10 and 9:10.
Yep.
And then again in time, it went to every hour.
Every 10.
6, 7, 8, 9, because we'd get off the air at 10 back then. Then we added the 5 o'clock hour because the show got bigger.
The pre-show.
Now the show's on 6 hours a day. What are we doing wrong? We're supposed to be working less.
And
We've never worked so much than now.
True. The last time I counted, there's about 1,700 phone taps in total.
I know. And we can only use about 300 of them.
Right.
Like there's like phone tap is just, it's so great because again, it's funny, and yet at the same point, it's like a great window into Big's mindset of the moment. Meaning, like, I mean, there's stuff from the very beginning that was so dirty that we can't air any of it. There's stuff that
do you have
makes no sense anymore. Of jokes about. Like Monica Lewinsky going all the way back.
Dresses dude.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just said Monica Lewinsky. But we're trying to pretend like we're adults here, Sketch. We're trying to pull something over on people here.
My bad, yes.
But yeah, there's so much that's unusable because it also, I mean, even just, telling somebody that they ordered some Obama, commemorative coins, even that almost doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
Because Obama's been out of office for so long. So it's like there are things that are really hot in the moment and it just doesn't quite make sense in 5, 10
in future replays.
Yeah. So
and then you being featured. Let's get to that.
Okay.
Let's get to that. We're already at an hour here. Look at that, Jason. A full hour just blew by.
This is what I do. Yeah.
This is great though, man. I love the compelling history of everything. You're growing up in OC, getting into Kiss, teaching,
right,
and then becoming a part of Big Boys Neighborhood since what was it 98 or was it 90? It was 98 as well.
April of 98.
Yeah, April 98. Man, I was July, I believe.
Okay,
98. Man, it's just such an illustrious career that you've led with Big Boys Neighborhood. And I want to also say that getting that star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame was wild. When we were all there for Big Boy and just hearing him read off the list of names of people that have been involved with the show, the extensive list. I couldn't help. And I told this to Big on the show, and he immediately was all, you helped bring that.
Yeah.
You were a variable in that. I was a variable in that. You, Jason Ryan, were a big variable in that because he saved you best for last. I'm going to have to hit a clip of that real quick. Yeah.
And a special thank you, man, to a gentleman that's been not only my producer, he has been my business partner, he has been my supporter. He is the man that told me, hey, Big, we should put these things called phone taps, those things that you do, let's put those on air every day. He's the secret to my success, ladies and gentlemen. Jason Ryan, I love you. Thank you, bro. On many days when I was ready to give up, you held me down. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, and thank you for believing in me.
But as he said, he's a secret to my success in his words.
Right.
How did that make you feel when he said that?
I mean, it was really kind, and it's just, again, it's the best of Big being his best, meaning that, like, he is one of the kindest, most generous, people with his words, with his making people feel great.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why he's in exactly the right place for what he does for, people with his medium of making people feel good.
Yeah.
Right. But sitting right there on that day of like the star ceremony and watching him and filming him, because of course I do my own YouTube stuff too. And, I made a episode out of his star ceremony.
Yeah.
And when he was talking about me, it's like, this may sound crazy because it meant so much, but yet that wasn't the first time he said that. So it wasn't like he surprised me because he's always
that's true. He has said that before.
Extremely generous and kind. And Jason, we got this. Jason, God Squad. This is you. This is right. So like, of course, it was greatly meaningful to be included in his speech. But again, it wasn't like surprising because he's like, we're like that with each other constantly.
Right.
Because we understand that this is something incredibly rare and special that's happening, and we're still living it.
What trips me out is I've known him since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm about to be 46 in January.
Right.
How many years is that? 27?
46 and 12, that's 34.
34 years?
Yeah.
Oh, I started working since I was 19. That's about 25, 20, whatever. I'm way bad at math, as you can tell. So I've been...
That's not your department.
Stupid.
34 years I've known this guy.
Yeah.
And I work with him for now 25.
Right.
It's surreal, Jason. And I've known you since I was 19. And both of you have been like, for lack of a better term, big brothers. You've been like dads that I never had. You're like my two dads.
Yeah.
Even though you're not that much older than me. I'm not trying to say you're way older. It's just you've been those male role models in my life for such a long time that it took me really my mom dying to really appreciate it, to really focus on it, get sober, and then really look and go, damn, where would you be if you didn't know them? You'd be fucked. Maybe you'd figure out another way. You'd probably find another job or something. But it's wild to know the love and the relationship and the consistency, and not just being my employers, but being my friends. Like, I know I can trust you guys.
Yeah.
Well,
hold on.
Go ahead.
Before you brush on. You're worse than me keeping this train moving so fast. Jeez.
Sorry. It's my radio DNA.
My God.
Yeah.
Where'd you learn that? Oh, yeah. But I love you. I am so happy to see this different version of you because, again, just going back in history over all of the years that we have known each other, it's like there were times that were rocky and there were times that we were very concerned about you and your physical well-being. Yeah. And I'm so happy that you're in a different place. And of course, blah, blah, we're always growing and learning, but you are a very different person than you were in the beginning. And we did continue, even if things went south, we brought you back again and again because we cared about you. And we did know at the end of the day that your product was great. That sounds like a drug reference. No, it's not. But like your work product was great. And
yes, thank you.
And in a way, I don't want to speak for Big, but I would also say that as that big brotherly feeling.
Yeah.
It was better to have you around us than not.
Oh,
because it wasn't just because of your great skills. It was, again, but it was also care.
It's family.
Yeah.
It was family, man. And I know Big kept doing that too. He would bring me back because he loves me and I love him.
Yeah.
And you love me and I love you.
Yeah.
And you guys are the two closest people that I am to that show now. I mean, because let's face it, there's a lot of new faces. Ani, of course, is one of them.
Right.
I love Ani.
Right.
I love Juan. But they're still the new generation
of Big
Boy's Neighborhood.
Of course.
When it's just us three.
That's why I'm sitting with you right now.
I know.
Is because we did, well, wait.
Go ahead.
Don't thank me yet. Because we did a special show this week. We did Backstage with Offset. Yeah. Well, my team hasn't directed a show like that. No one's ever directed a show without me.
That's right.
And so now that I'm not here, I was like, I have to fucking fly back and I've got to show them because of COVID and all of this long period of not doing events.
Yeah.
Well, they're back. And I was like, oh, fuck, I got to really teach the next, generation.
You got to go Coach Ryan on them.
I did. So that's why I'm physically here right at this moment, is because we just did this big event show.
I timed it out. We timed it out right. Migos performing, or was it?
It was Offset
only,
right?
not Migos.
Right.
Offset performing. The show went well. I mean, I saw some of Ani's, reporting on it. Yeah, you coming back, it just worked out perfectly for you to do the podcast. Because I was like, Thursday. I remember when you mentioned it, I was like, Thursday. And then I was like, I know what he's doing. This is Jason. I love how your mind works. You're like, I can do that and I'll do this.
I got to lock it in before, too much more time passes.
I do appreciate you doing my little peewee of a podcast. I've been wanting to get you on since it started.
I know. I feel bad now.
No.
I'm like, oh God, now I'm guest number 112.
Not even. You're guest 39. This is the 39th episode, I believe. I think. If not, it's 40.
That's okay.
I think it's 39. But the point is that you're here now, and like Big Boy always says, it'll be greater later.
That's true.
And you're here, and it couldn't have been a better time.
Yeah.
Because any time would have been fine, and I would love to have you back. But before we even wrap this up, phone taps.
Right, I know.
What is your favorite phone tap that you've been featured
fucking
in?
radio. You've teased it like 8 times.
Time spent listening.
My God, I really hope that they're actually still here.
Oh, they are.
Okay,
they
all
are.
right. What do you want to talk about?
Your favorite phone tap that you've been featured in, that you've done, because you've done quite a few, and there's different characters that you do. If I can just quickly say, my favorite version of Jason on the phone tap is when you're like the manager or like the police guy.
It's my favorite.
Because you do such a good. And that's just your natural way of being. You seem very...
The best actors aren't acting.
Right. You're just so law enforcement sort of. But you're still hip because you got the blonde hair. You got the Guinness soccer shirt. You know what I mean? Like you're in shape. You look like you got the tattoos.
I can get in touch with my inner asshole in a millisecond.
Yeah.
And so in phone tap... it's perfect for me to come in and be the asshole. And so, okay, so first, let me just say that I believe research would show that the audience's favorite phone tap with me in it, I think there's about 8 total, I think. Mm-hmm. The audience's favorite is me being little Slim Shady, me being the little cursing
Kid
Eminem,
Trouble, right?
Kid Trouble's the title, the back end title of it, but it's Eminem beating up his father, being abusive, and saying, "Shut up! I want to order pizza."
Yeah.
So I think that's the audience's favorite.
You don't want to fuck with Junior.
I know,
Junior. What is it? The rest?
What's his fucking pizza? And so I think people really like that one, and it's fun. Who knew at the moment when we were recording? I mean, that happened. I mean, when Eminem started, so that phone tap
was the
fucking
beginning of
20 years
Eminem's
old.
career. Yeah, man.
But it's still funny, and
let's play a clip real quick.
Okay, sure.
My son, he's really starting to scare me. I'm fearful of my life. It's to the point now where he's getting physically abusive. He keep pushing out his chest, telling me to go ahead, take a swing at me. I'll knock your effing glasses off your face. So I just can't handle it anymore.
You could call Child Protective Services.
Could you hold on for a second?
Yeah.
What time is it? He's here.
He's here?
Yes. I'm on the phone right now. I'm going to come out. I'm ordering those shoes that you want. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, why are you home from school so early?
Shut up. I want to order a pizza.
Okay.
Give me the phone.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Hold on. Wait. Okay, wait. Hold on.
Give me the phone. Do I look like I have all day?
You're supposed to be at school.
You don't want to with Junior.
I know, Junior.
Because Junior.
I know, Junior.
Want this pizza.
Junior.
If you give me your address, I'll call the police right now.
Okay. Don't hit me in the back of my head no more.
Tell me where you live.
I'm just tired of you with me.
Now,
still classic, and I love how you at the end of that phone tap you added like us fighting and then dishes breaking and fucking cats screaming
Here,
and
Lily,
stuff.
my dog that passed away, I immortalized her in a phone tap. I have in her bark because the things are crashing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to give away the entire magic of the show, but for God's sake, all the things you had breaking on the wall, I was like, that was
you know what it is?
Crazy.
It's my Howard Stern influence from Howard Stern. When I hear their production on the Stern Show, when they do phony phone calls or just even some of their bits, and they have. It's like you can see it. You can see the action happening, with the theater of the mind. And when I hear their stuff, it inspires me to go, I can do something like that for big, but different, in our own way. And that elevates the phone taps in a way.
I don't want to disgrace your own memory or your own feeling. But I think your shit's better.
Oh,
because I am a rabid consumer, or was. Again, I can't get his show right now, but he's not in his prime anyway. I'm a rabid consumer of Howard. I worked on the same station as Howard before I worked with Big. So I think your stuff is better than his. And I'm not just saying that.
What also helps to have Big as well.
Here's the answer to the other question. You asked, what is my favorite? My favorite is, again, one of the, tough boss ones where Big, a.k.a. Luther Lufe, randomly calls some guy at a 7-Eleven. And he is asking him all these questions and bugging the guy. And the guy just thinks he's some customer and he kind of blows him off. Mm-hmm. And then Big calls back and says, hey, I'm actually so-and-so from corporate and that was a test and you failed. And we pretend that we put him on hold.
Right.
And Big and I talk, and Big's like, what should I do? And I'm like, we're going to fucking fire his ass. And, and the guy can hear every word we're saying. Yeah. And then he clicks back over to him and he's like, and the guy is just like,
I love when you go, well, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to circle back in 2 weeks and fire this guy. The way you said that. Let's hit that clip.
No, I just told you I'm not hiring right now.
Okay, well.
You know what? I don't want to talk to you, okay? I got to go. Thanks for calling. That help you?
This is from corporate and how are you?
Good.
I was just speaking to one of my other representatives here, and he said that he was trying to speak to you on the phone, and there was a little problem or a misunderstanding, and I rolled back the tape, and it seemed like you were being a little unprofessional. So I've got Luther Lufe here with me, and I was just wondering if we can, work this conversation out together here.
You handled that very, very unprofessionally.
I think I did.
Keep him on hold.
Hold on for a second. Sure. He's on hold.
I'm telling you something right now. Mm-hmm. A loser is a loser, and I say you fire his.
You got to understand, I was hard on him.
Just say whatever you want, but I'm going to come back on this in 2 weeks and fire him.
Fine. Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry, but please.
What's that?
No, I just heard the conversation.
You heard what conversation?
You guys talking?
You heard our conversation, huh?
No.
Oh, my God, Jason. It's so real, and yet it's just a joke. You know what
it's... I mean, I don't want to get sued, but it's not. I mean, it's. I mean, these are real life things that have happened. Actually, I mean, it's like that's why I say the best actors aren't acting. I mean,
Jason, have you ever?
Those were real things that actually happened before.
I know. So speaking from that experience, have you ever thought about doing any actual acting? Because you seem like an actor.
I don't know.
I know you don't, but have you ever wanted to?
Nah.
No.
No, that's never been my thing. Like
you're a radio guy.
Not even that. I'm a director. I'm a producer. I'm a director. Like I've always known my role.
Yeah.
When I was given the chance to be able to drive the car, meaning a show, and I started getting it right, and all the instincts that I had were then proven right in time. Oh, there was no looking back. I never. Big tells a funny story about how when he was interviewing me for the job, going all the way back to 98, there was another guy also interviewing for the job. And that guy during the interview said something to the effect of like, yeah, I can do this. And then, I'll pop on the air with you and I could just do this and this. And Big's like, we don't fucking need that. Like, my name's on the show, dude. I don't need, and but I do believe that there are tons of people that, of course, have their eyes on, the prize of being the star. And I just
their own agenda.
I always felt that, I don't know. I just always knew where my place was, and my place was directing and planning, and I'm in the right place, and I always have been.
Well said, Jason.
Yeah.
My favorite phone tap of you.
Okay.
Well, there's a few. There's also old man Jason, Grandpa Jason, right?
That is it at first place and a half.
Yeah. And then there's Louis
dropping off dad.
That's dropping off dad. Let's hit a clip of dropping off dad.
Just say hello to my dad.
Now, Luther.
What? Hello.
Put your son back on.
I'm on the phone too, Mel.
Margaret.
Margaret is at the place I'm about to take you to right now.
What?
Luther.
This is Margaret here. Say hello,
no,
Margaret.
it is not. Luther.
I'm on my way.
I'll call the police. He'll end up in jail. I'm telling you.
What did I do?
I can't take him.
Stop yelling.
I cannot keep him here. It's against the law. I will have to call the police.
Why?
Because I can't take him.
Because I'm a failure?
You take him someplace else. I cannot take him.
Why are you screaming at me now?
Because you're acting ridiculous.
Why am I acting ridiculous? Because I'm trying to
drop your father off
yes.
to any place.
Well, I'm just going to drop him off in the front, and I know that you guys won't just leave him out there.
Luther, you can't just drop someone out.
Heard that my dad will be there, and he's wearing the burgundy
not
V-neck.
Responsibility.
He's our responsibility. It takes a village.
Better.
You better work.
What?
Come on, girl. All righty, we're on our way.
Margaret.
And then there's, of course, Louis, where you're on the phone with his mom, which I also like as well, because they're sending him to Miami.
Yeah. We're transferring him to an internship in Miami, and his mom thinks it's a good thing.
Louis' boss right here, Jason Horshman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So Louis had put you down for a reference. It says Luis on here. How many names does he go by?
I call Luigi.
I'm going to list all the names that are here, and if it's right, you say check, okay? So Luigi.
Okay, yeah, check.
Luis Angel.
Check.
Louis Mommy Miami.
Check.
DJ Louis G.
Check.
Short stuffing for your muffin.
No.
What else should we know about Louis for this new position?
Well, it's my son. I love him.
What could he improve on?
Does he wash clothes?
No.
And what about the dishes?
Either that, no.
Does he make his own bed?
No. He's lazy.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm telling you the truth.
I don't think this Miami position is going to work, but we do have an unpaid internship in Kansas City.
Would you rather Louis go to Kansas?
Yeah.
He does need a chaperone, and he need a person that's taller than him.
Yeah.
Como se dice en español, you've been phone tapped again?
Again?
Yeah.
Don't tell me that.
Yes. Oh, my gosh, Lourdes. Yeah. Louis is here. He's not going to Miami.
I was thinking you was serious.
I mean, there's so many. I think we got to do another round of these. We got to do another. What's the next phone tap with you on it? What are we going to do?
Well, I mean, I don't want to tip my hand because I've always got ideas at getting some specific people sometimes. There's always a couple of those up our sleeve, but you have to be super careful. Like sometimes we have to lay the trap fucking months.
Yeah, it takes
ahead of
work.
Time because their guard is up.
Yeah. Everybody's
and they want to know where you're calling from to even try and decipher if you could be recording this or something. Yeah. I'll never forget. Can I tell you? Please. Can I tell you a question you didn't ask?
Yeah.
When Joe Grande left the show, you know where I'm going?
No, but I just love the name.
When Joe Grande was again a great personality. We're still great friends.
Shout out to Joe Grande.
He was on the show, And Big called me one day with Joe on the phone and said, Joe just quit and he's leaving the show. And I'm like, this is a phone tap. And in my head, I'm just listening and I'm just zero reaction, zero anything. And I'm just like, okay. And this is almost where you get that callousness of, I'll just circle back on this and I'll figure it out.
Oh.
Because I thought it was a phone tap.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
But yet, then, like I was even trying to like keep my guard up of thinking like they were getting me. And then when I found out it was real, I was like, oh, okay, well, fuck, I got a lot of work to do. So like, I don't have time for that anyway.
Wow.
And that happened another time when somebody quit. I won't say this person's name because I think they'll be more sensitive about it. But like somebody else quit.
I could always bleep it too.
And no, it's okay.
Okay.
But I just didn't have a huge reaction because I instantly went to, okay, I have to do a lot of work because this is unexpected and I have to create a replacement and I have to
You're so trained into expect the unexpected.
Well, and it's going to create more work.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to be
shocked.
Well, shocked and or going over the aftermath of the, and this and this and this. Okay, got it. Got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I had an idea that I wanted to run by you that I've talked to other guests that I've had on this podcast about Big's phone taps. They're fans of it.
Yeah.
Sandy Steck being one of them from Coast 103.5, Stryker from Alt 98.7, who was on earlier on in the podcast.
Right.
And he was like, oh, I love the phone taps. And I asked them to, would you be interested in possibly being on a phone tap with us? Now, with Stryker, I said, could we call one of your friends? Because they're your friend, Stryker. And he was like, yeah, that'd be cool because that'd be the setup. Because there's more rules here at iHeart. We're not really allowed to call anybody like we used to, right? We have to kind of set it up the right way, meaning call someone.
You have to work with rules? Is that what you're implying?
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or Sandy Steck calling her mom or something, you know what I mean? And having Big, here's one idea. She went to Vegas recently, and I said, what if we had Big call a gambling anonymous thing, right? And she's on the phone as his girlfriend. Remember how we did with like Kim and the flower pot, stuff like that? Can we do that?
The guest appearances are amazing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Big calls directly to a star. And those are really funny. You've got the Kevin Hart, which is a classic.
I don't have no interest in your wife, man. I wouldn't do it.
Are you telling me that my wife is lying?
Yes, your wife is lying. I don't want you getting mad at me for being real with you. I'm being real.
You just saying a whole lot right now, Kev.
Biggs, dude.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want you to get upset. You know damn well I didn't do nothing because I'm telling you I didn't do nothing. So if you don't want to take my word, I don't know what to tell you.
So can I meet up with you, Kev?
No, you ain't meeting up with me. Not when you down this, man. Ain't no way in hell I'm meeting up with you. You sit up here and accuse me of doing something with your wife. I don't know what crazy state you in right now. I don't want you to see me.
I just want to talk to you face to face.
No. You can kiss my right now. I'm not meeting you nowhere, bitch.
Why are you saying kiss my Kevin? Why are you talking to me like that?
Because you're telling me to come meet with you. I'm not going to go meet with you, bitch.
I'm going to see you, Kev.
No, you're losing your damn mind. What you talking about?
When I see you, it's going to be me and Luther Lufe. It's going to be me.
Dude,
it's going to be me and Luther Lufe, boy.
George Lopez.
Is a new classic.
New classic, yeah.
Marlon Wayans, there's a bunch of them. But
Lil Jon.
But also like Fuzzy as like a co-conspirator in the phone taps.
Yes,
He's
co-conspirator.
so great in those.
His voice, man.
Jaleesa is an absolute classic. Stacy.
Yes, I was just about to say Stacy.
Stacey, and exactly what I just said. The best actors aren't acting. Like Stacey was.
She was like really livid.
Can you get off the phone, please? You're embarrassing me.
SB, is this you?
Yes, it's SB.
Thank you.
No, it's not.
It is SB.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
not.
Please.
In my house. In my house.
Are you really
Ma'am,
going to?
I work at a flower shop, and he's trying to place an order for you.
Surprise.
Wow,
If you want me to give you our phone number, you can give me a call right back.
Sure. Get your own man. What are you doing with a married man with 3 kids? What are you doing?
I'm going to get the manager on the phone.
Oh, my God.
You.
That phone tap of the Valentine's Day cheating, like, oh, my God. Like that.
Yeah.
That will never leave rotation.
See, I'd love to try to do that with some people here that we call their people, like their family or their friends. That way it's an automatic in.
Right.
There's
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about that, but also let's not forget that you're in phone taps too.
Yeah, I'm just a few.
You are a guest. You are a guest contributor in phone taps as well. The police officer that's going to beat the shit out of Luther at the traffic stop.
Yeah.
Well, here go the police right here. Just tell him that we've known each other for like 4 years, okay?
Oh, no.
All right, here he is.
Sorry.
Hello. This is Officer Scott. Do you know this man, Luther Lufay?
Yes, he does.
Oh, no.
Yes, he does.
No, I don't know.
Luther Lufay says he does know you.
He dialed the first number. He got
Okay, Luther, we're going to have to take you away now. We're going to have to take you away.
Hold on. You know what they going to do to me. They going to beat my feet, man. Come on.
Yes.
And then I was also the guy in the window at the meal prep problem.
Yeah, you added yourself in as the fast food drive-through worker.
Oh, you want to come
Dos
to the
papas!
forward?
Dos papas!
Yeah, you want to come to the, please pull to the forward.
Oh, can I take your order right here?
Yes, hi. Could I get a number 3?
Number 3, okay.
And on the number 3, can you make that double cheese?
Extra queso, okay.
Excuse me,
are
peppers?
you at a drive-thru?
The peppers?
And chili cheese fries, please.
Chili cheese papas, okay.
French fries, really?
Get you an order as well. Make that 2.
Dos papas.
My nutritionist want fries
Really?
too.
I can't.
Please pull to the forward right here.
Hi.
Thank you.
Call
You know what? I got to pull around to the front. Let me call you back, hon. Let me call you back. Thank you so much.
Oh, my God. I can't believe this.
But see, this is like what I was getting at earlier about when you were like crediting Stern, and I was saying like, I think your stuff is better because even with that, that phone tap started with Big pretending he was talking to a fast food person. You're not there.
Yeah.
You got the phone tap after and then inserted yourself.
Yeah.
Like he was actually talking to someone.
Yeah.
And it made it that much better. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not ruining the illusion.
No, but I love explaining some of the setup of how the production goes into it, like Stern does.
You made it better.
Yeah, thank you.
And you didn't wait to send it back to me to say, don't you think maybe we could do this? You just did it.
Took the initiative. And if it didn't work, you would be like, hey, sketches are going to work. Yeah,
unacceptable.
Yeah, unacceptable. Ladies and gentlemen, Sketch Show podcast exclusive. And then also the trunk phone tap I inserted myself into.
Yes, you were the carjacker.
Yeah, the guy who just comes by. And I was able to muffle my voice in Pro Tools to make it sound like, oh, good, are you okay back there?
Yep.
And then and the way Big was like speaking to as if somebody was there.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, the guy's on the phone. Yeah, he called me an idiot, but I'm gonna make a complaint about him. Right. I'm like, okay, are you okay back there? Yeah. Where are the keys at? The keys are in the front, he says. And it seemed like it needed to be there.
We have our own 5D theater.
Yeah.
With things happening in different dimensions and they all come together in a 2-minute phone tap.
This idiot locked himself in the trunk of his car and he can't get out.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm not a idiot.
Well, you need to call 911.
But I'm not a idiot, okay?
All right.
That's not very nice. So you never been locked in your trunk?
No, sir. I've never been locked in my trunk.
Oh, so I must be a idiot then.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Not you, sir. Hello? Is there somebody out there?
Somebody in there?
I'm in the trunk.
Oh my
Help!
God.
Hold on. There's somebody out here.
Okay.
I'm in the trunk.
You all right in there? Just walked by his car.
I'm in the trunk.
Where are
the keys are in the front seat.
Are they coming to help you?
Yeah, the guy just called me a idiot, but I'm going to make a complaint about him later.
I'm going to get the keys.
Please, they're in the front seat. Okay. Oh, this started my car up.
there.
She's driving me the out of here. Oh.
I got to say thank you, Jay Rye, for allowing me to do that stuff and for, bringing. I remember you were like, I'm going to do this thing sketch before Disney Plus popped off. I remember you were like, I'm calling it Phone Tap Plus.
Right.
Because remember we had to repurpose and re-edit some of the phone taps to take out old references and whatnot from Power or, just references of years, whatever it may be. And I would re-edit
words that are no longer appropriate.
Exactly. Or even like DVDs, right? Or something like that. And as I was editing them, the trunk came by and it was on the list. And that's when I was like, you know what? And that's when I was really getting into Stern. In 2017, it was like right after my mom passed away. I'd gotten that Kia Optima Prime. It came with Stern. And I remember, Kia Optima Hybrid. I call it Kia Optima Prime, but I don't even have that car anymore. But that was like my initial, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this too. And like you said, I might be able to do it better. But it's all because of Big. It's because of Big and you giving me that carte blanche, like Big would say, Sketch, use your license.
Yeah.
Just use your license. Don't remember because
but you earned that.
Thank
I mean,
you.
so and I think that's part of the point is that anybody who's trying to make it in anything that you're passionate about, you need to, you could be really great. You could have a degree, you could have a certificate or this or that or whatever, but like you still have to earn your way in this world and you still need to do some proving before everybody just listens to you or everybody is interested in your platform or whatever it is that you're going to do. I think sometimes some people miss that part. And not to sound like, you damn kids, but like, I mean, I've interviewed people that I threw out of my office who were out interviewing for a job and telling me what their demands were before they even heard anything about what we were doing, and I'm like, get out.
Damn.
Like it's just it's important.
Yeah.
And again, if you navigate it right and you've got the skills, you put in your time, you know how to navigate and be a good person and be incredible at what you do. Like, I mean, you can write your own ticket, but it takes a minute.
Yeah.
It takes time.
What I noticed that Big says, how Big is like, you need a guy in the show that's able to tell people no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can't, not just Big saying no, but you're the guy. I guess for lack of a better term, and this is not me calling you an asshole, but sometimes you have to be the asshole,
of course.
Right? But you do the asshole like saying no to somebody isn't even an asshole, but having to become that asshole to protect the show.
Right.
You do it so well to the point where it's like you're not even acting like an asshole, but you're like cutting them off at the pass. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of learning.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of learning on the difference between being assertive and being offensive.
Right. And you ride that line so perfectly.
Right.
Me, I can't. I'm so, me, I'm very passionate. I'm very sensitive when it comes to my work. And I immediately, even at 45 years old, I'm like, I have to stop myself. Don't reply. I have to do what Jason does. Don't reply. Just wait for like a day.
Give it time.
Or write it out. Just don't hit send yet.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just can't. I can't help myself. I have to like explain how I feel in that moment. I mean, how do you do it, Jason? How do you stay so calm?
It's just knowing what's on the line and knowing like how much. So I not to sound ridiculous, but it's like knowing how much power you have and knowing when to use it and using it properly. So
like a superhero.
Like I don't have to yell to get what I need. I don't have to beg to get what I need. We've earned our place over time. So when we need something, we just use the methods and we get what we need. If something's not going right, then if I need to, I assert a very firm stance on this is the standard. This is what's been discussed. It's not happening. We got to fix this. Yeah. This has got to be bridged. Is it happening from this person? Is it happening from that person? Because if it's not, then I'm just going to do it myself.
Right.
Because I'm not waiting.
Right.
Which again is also the pressure cooker of always being on the hamster wheel because we have a show to put out every single day. So I don't have time to wait for people, who are off for X amount of days doing blah, blah, blah. There's no such thing as that for what we do.
Not for us, not for the neighborhood, for sure.
I mean, even when I was on a ship, I was still like checking in because stuff was happening.
Via Starlink.
It's just the nature, and this is what I signed up for. And again, it's gratitude, but it's knowing that I represent a giant brand, multiple giant brands. I mean, because I represent, I represent Big and Big Show and all of that empire, but I also, represent, the biggest radio distributor of iHeart, as well. So it's like,
there's a lot to lose.
There's a lot of responsibility and it's interesting you say that because I would even think that some of the managers would say I'm the hotter head out of the group.
Really?
I think they could say that. I think they could say that. But But it's always from the right place because I only argue about quality. I only argue about getting it right.
Yeah.
I don't argue because I want a gold door handle on my office.
Right.
I'm arguing about the absolute necessity of putting the best product out. And so I will never apologize for my passion of it has to be right.
Well said.
That's what it is.
That is well said, Jason.
Yeah.
You're so professional.
I mean,
look at you. You're such a pro, Jason.
Blah, blah, blah.
I wish people could see. I wish this was a video podcast right now. This is audio only, but there's a certain.
Well, you're an editor. Go ahead, animate it.
Yeah, no
Let
thanks.
us see that.
The video takes up way too much space and time. I love just having audio. Plus, you can add all the clips in, and it's like a theater of the mind. I'm still on the radio aspect of my own podcast. I know everybody has video now. I don't really have the face for podcasting on video.
That's actually, you're actually, whether you believe that or not, it actually doesn't matter.
Really?
Because, I mean, there's
people don't care.
No, but some people like to consume things differently.
Right. Especially the newer.
That's why we do all of it.
Yeah.
We do every visual medium and we do every audio medium because maybe someone's in the car and they don't have time to watch.
Right.
But they could listen.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Your birthday's on December 9th.
Yes.
Sagittarius, correct?
Yes.
Reminds me so much of my mom in a lot of ways. Her birthday's on December 7th. She would have been, she's going to be turning, if she was still alive, I guess like 74, 75, something like that. But the point is that you both being Sagittarius, there's so much of your consistency and discipline that reminds me of my mom in so many ways. I've told you this before too, but I wanted to
I
put
miss
out
your
there.
mom.
I miss her
such
too.
a sweetheart. She'd come visit us.
Remember she bring
Occasionally
tacos?
Bring the tacos in the glass
Chicken
Pyrex.
tacos, man. Oh,
the
my
glass
God.
Pyrex
Yeah, she'd make
with
like
the,
30 of them.
Right.
So, handmade from scratch. She'd remove the bones from the chicken
Between
herself.
Big and I, sometimes there was none left for you. I was like, the sun has to wait.
Yeah, I miss my mom. Shout out to Diana Ray. But I wanted to point that out is that you share similarities in personality and in discipline and just in staying consistent. That's what my mom was very good at being consistent and always reminding me about that. Christian, you have to stay consistent if you want it to work. You can't just expect it to work after a month. You have to keep doing it years and years. And she was right.
Huge lesson.
Yeah.
It's a huge lesson. I mean, even when you look at, like the, the book, The Outliers, talking about putting in your 10,000 hours. I mean, the other thought about that too is like, it doesn't mean 10,000 hours off and on when it's convenient for you and then pissing people off in between and blowing up a bridge. And then, I already put in 4,000 hours over here and I'm going to do 3,000 hours over here. Like, consistency, incredibly true lesson.
You've told me this yourself, is that I've had to reprove myself quite a few times, not just over at Power, but even here. And, I think without those life lessons, I don't know where I'd be, but I'm sure as hell glad that I got them because it's those difficult times that I had to struggle through that a lot of times were self-induced. It wasn't like I was a victim. I was out for myself and I just wanted to drink and I wanted to party. And, I turned in my work, as Big even said. He's like, yeah, you turned in your work, but, I was always fucking hungover, felt like shit. But now, being able to see the world through like the same set of eyes, but crystal clear, I'm just so glad for the struggles I had to go through in order to be really grateful for the fortunate blessings I have today. So
it's a beautiful thing. And I see it and I feel it.
And I want to thank you for being a part of that, Jason.
Sketch. It's a beautiful life that we are lucky to be living.
Yes, sir.
And I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for all of it. And I appreciate your kind words today.
Of course. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on my podcast. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give him a little my version of J-Rye voice. You've heard it before, right? Have you heard this before when we're like, what do you mean, buddy? Get him on the horn. Now, you don't talk like that. You never talk like that. My thing is, it's almost like my version of what your ego would sound like. Not saying a bad thing. It's just like when you'd go, I remember you go, Sketch, take tat out. Remember, we'd have to edit out tattoo for the East Coast. We were national during that whole era of Power. Or you go, what do you mean, Sketchy? Unacceptable. It was like this voice I would do just to like make it funny. Because if I just did it normal, it's not as funny. because you don't talk like that.
Right.
But to me, it sounds funnier.
You had you used to have a one-word impression.
Oh yes, it's
of me
again.
Right. Right. So tomorrow's show, Backstage with Offset, again, live audience. And so I need butts in seats before 11.
Do I have to make sweepers,
because
Jason?
Again, this is going out across all platforms again on Friday. Again,
God.
again.
That's so good, Jason. I love you so much, man. Thank you for being such a important part of my radio career for this long, and thank you for being the coolest of all the morning show executive producers and just producers in general, because I worked with a couple other producers. When I went away, I moved to Miami. I remember I came back. I worked at 100.3 The Beat, and I worked with other morning show producers. Now, J Love from Baker Boys, producer, great guy. But him and you are the only two that are, he's no longer with the Bakers. He's now with DJ Ski. But at that time in 2004, when I had left, and I remember working with him and going, man, he's calm. Like Jason's calm. And then I worked with a few others, or just a couple of others, and they weren't as calm. They weren't as nice and consistent. There was always a level of, their own agenda and the aggressive way of getting it, and I didn't like that. And it made me appreciate again.
Right.
Fuck, you had it good with Jason.
Again.
Again, there was always like there was times where I'd act up or just needed discipline, and I was still a kid. You know what I mean? I was still a kid. Even though I was in my 20s, I still felt like I was like 18 or 17 years old.
Sure.
And I never went to college. I didn't graduate from high school. I went right into radio right after high school. I left high school when I turned 18, went to go work at a record label. Then I went to go work at Herb Magazine, URB Magazine, right?
Yes, I remember.
And then I went to go work at Groove Radio.
Yes.
So there was like,
I liked Groove Radio.
Yeah, I remember Groove Radio.
That was one of the shortest great ideas ever.
It was a good one.
I liked it.
Swedish Eagle.
Yeah.
But all those stepping stones and all the radio career that I've lived has been mostly alongside you. And I think it would be remiss of me if I didn't point out that you have been such an important part of my radio career, you and Big Boy. And I want to put that out there, podcast publicly, that I love you, Jason. You're a good man. You're a patient man. And you do a phenomenal job all the time.
I appreciate it. And again, none of this is an accident. I love you as well. But the other thing I was just going to say is 25 years plus of this show. And I mean, it is the most successful hip hop brand in the history of radio.
Absolutely.
And it's not an accident.
Nope.
It is tireless work and your contributions over all the year, Big's incredible talent, my guidance, all of the people who have been contributors over all of the years, and the bosses that, in time, the better ones that learn to get out of the way.
Yes.
Because we know what we're doing.
Yeah,
for the
let
most
them
part.
do what
for
you
the most
hired
part,
them for.
Exactly. So
I hear what you're saying.
It's all a gift, man.
Yeah, man. We're lucky to be here. And I hope that you can come back at some point on the show and we could talk more radio, more life.
We'll film the next one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do that. I want to do a video promo for you for the social media. Is
No
that cool?
problem.
And then I'm going to get back
about it.
Get back to the apartment so I can continue editing these commercials for iHeart.
Perfect.
There it is.
And I'll go back to my office and find the 50 people waiting in line because they have something they need to talk to me about.
I know your phone has been going off nonstop on silent, right? Jason Ryan, the Malibu Lion, executive producer, Big Boy's Neighborhood on the Sketcho Show podcast. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
The Sketchomatic Show.
Hey, too much information and shit, man.
Shut your mouth, essay.
Okay, bye.
You just did it.
Took the initiative. And if it didn't work, you would be like, hey, Sketch, it's going to work. Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, unacceptable.
Again.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Again.